Hello and welcome. You're watching our special presentation, the Grudge series. India are all set to take on England in the fourth test at Old Trafford. And to discuss more on India's chances, I have our consulting editor Boria Mujumdar joining us from Manchester. I also have former Indian off-spinner Nikhil Chopra joining me in the studio. But before that, let's show that Old Trafford holds for India. The challenges that India will face as they aim to bounce back in the Grudge series. Here's a preview.
Old Trafford will not be a familiar ground for the visiting Team India, playing at the ground after 24 long years. MS Dhoni and co have their work cut out to bounce back after a disappointing performance at Southampton. But it indeed will be hard work, as stats too don't favour India. In the 8 matches played at Old Trafford, India has not won a single match. England, on the other hand, have won 3 and drawn 5. A major concern for India going into the Manchester test is once again Ishant Sharma. The pacer is still to fully recover from an ankle injury. Pankaj Singh, who replaced Ishant, did not have an impressive debut. Rohit Sharma, who played in place of Stuart Binney, too failed to create any magic. For MSD, the problem of a fifth bowler persists. There has been a case for R. Ashwin since the first test. So will MSD finally give in now? Or will he bring back Stuart Binney? But the good news is that Bhuvneshwar Kumar is fully fit for the fourth test. In the batting department, there is Gautam Gambhir warming the bench. And with Shikhar Dhawan not in his best form, it could be a chance for him to make his place in the team once again. So it's the perfect time for MSD and co to put behind the Jadeja-Anderson saga and bounce back in the Grudge series.
After starting with 5 bowlers at the start of this series against England, Indian captain MS Dhoni is all set to return to that playing 11 with the introduction of Ravichandran Ashwin as the second spinner in the 11. Also, with Shikhar Dhawan not being amongst the runs, Gautam Gambhir, who's been sitting in the dressing room so far, is all set to make his start in this Grudge series. With camera person Kashif Siddiqui in Manchester, Shivani Gupta for Headlines Today.
When we deal with social life, it's very important not to drag one thing into other. So irrespective of what has happened and what will happen, I think even in the last game that we played, we were only concentrating on cricket. So that's a good thing. And once you're part of the Indian cricket team, that's one thing that you learn to do very well, because a lot of things keeps floating around cricket, whether we are home or outside. So it really teaches us how to concentrate on just one, especially once the game starts. Well, the match will really tell us, how fresh they are. But at the same time, the best way we could have managed the last 6 or 7 days, that's what we have done. We have managed their workload really well. So hopefully, once we turn up on the field, they'll be very fresh and they'll be ready to go. The world has changed. A lot of emphasis is put on winning games, and we call it killing instinct and all that. And it's one reference that has been used a lot. But I think a lot of time it gets misinterpreted, because at the same time what we need to realize is there's MCC, and, we talk about spirit of the game, not only about cricket, about all the other sports. And we all know as individual the guideline that needs to be followed. Well, it's a constant process we have been working around. The one thing that we can definitely assure is, those 3 or 4 who stand in the slip cordon are the best catches that we had caught as of now. So, unless we get rid of all of them and make somebody else stand. But as far as talent is concerned, they are the best catches that we have got. Well, I think he's a terrific bowler, and what has been really good about him is how he comes up and how he confuses the batsman and gets his wicket. Also the fact, if you see the 2007 tour, when we came, he was working on his in-swinger and he was not very consistent with it. But now if you see him, he's a much different bowler. He uses the in-swinger to his strength, and I think that's something that's very important for an international cricketer. So overall, he's a terrific if you see from the crowd's prospect, that's the kind of bowler you really want to see in a game. If you see Virat, I think he's batting really well. And in cricket, what we have seen is you go through a phase where, at times you get out on deliveries or good deliveries are bowled at you. But what I feel is, he's batting really well. He's looking at good nick, he's timing the ball really well. So it's just a matter of time. Yes, he may not have converted the starts into big innings, but with the kind of talent he is, we all know it's just around the corner that will come strong.
All All right, let's now take a look at all the players who need to step up their game in Manchester and to ensure that India inches closer to stealing the series. Here's a report.
He's rated as India's #1 test batsman. Cheteshwar Pujara has shown the spark in England, but Pujara has failed to capitalise on his starts.
Up goes the finger. This is the wicket they wanted.
Pujara has so far scored 190 runs in his 6 innings, averaging just under 32. These figures certainly far below his standards. In Manchester, Pujara will have to show the classy act he's known for and build a foundation for India's win. At the start of the tournament, Virat Kohli could do no wrong, but this flamboyant batsman has failed repeatedly against the English attack. The drop in form forcing Kohli to send out an SOS to his childhood coach Rajkumar Sharma to be by his side in England. Kohli has so far scored just 101 runs at a dismal average of 16.83, and India would be hoping that he steps up his game at Manchester. Shikhar Dhawan's horrific run with the bat doesn't seem to end anytime soon. Dhawan's failure to give India a good start has started to hurt the team very badly. Dhawan's struggles with the bat has even forced many experts to call for his replacement.
Bring Gautam Gambhir in the squad. He should open with Murali Vijay, because Murali Vijay has been in superb form, and if Gambhir can bat well at the top, I'm not saying to drop Shikhar Dhawan completely from the 15 in the future, keep him in the 15, but what I'm trying to say is that when you're not been scoring runs for some time, against the new ball, it's a scar. It's more of a mental battle than a technical battle.
Dhawan averages a lowly 20.33 from his 6 innings, and if given a chance at Manchester, he will be under immense pressure to better his record. In the absence of Ishant Sharma, Mohammad Shami is India's most experienced bowler. Shami has so far taken only 5 wickets in the tournament at an awful average of 73.20. But he will be expected to deliver a better performance at the Manchester wicket. And if Shami strikes form, India's lead attack could be very lethal at Old Trafford. Sports Bureau, headlines today.
So there you saw, the players that need to step up. So Nikhil, what do you think? What are the chances of Ashwin returning, and also Gambhir? We've seen him warming up the bench. Do you think both the players would be included?
I hope so for Gautam Gambhir. No disrespect to Shikhar Dhawan. I guess the important thing is, he's got 6 innings. He hasn't been in the best of form. Apart from Murali Vijay, we haven't been able to get a solid enough start in the top 3, because you've got Virat Kohli as well as Cheteshwar Pujara, who are also not firing. So in that regard, it's not such a bad idea to get Shikhar Dhawan to probably rest this one out, give Gautam Gambhir an opportunity. And I've been saying it from day one, the very first test match. If you're looking to play the lone spinner, make sure you play your best spinner, and especially against the number of left-handers you have in the English side. So you've got the off spinner as well. Come the 3rd day, 4th day, and it's a different mindset. Or for a different bowler whose core strength is to go out there and pick up wickets. Jadeja is a fantastic cricketer, but I guess, when it comes only to spin, to look to pick up wickets, I guess he's lost somewhere in that all-rounder ability as well. So I guess that's why Team India has been hurting a bit in regard to the 5th bowler.
Also, we've been hearing that, India has not been able to take a lot of wickets when it comes. Do you think Ashwin will get that impact back?
I hope so. You see, initial part of the tournament, initial part of the test matches, the day 1, day 2, there is something in it for the quicker bowlers. That's when the 3 medium pacers step up to the game and look to pick up wickets. But come day 4 and day 5, that's the job on wear and tear wickets for the spinners to come and run through sides. You look at Moeen Ali, he's a part-timer, but he got you wickets. So when the wickets are turning, you need a front-line spinner who can go out there and do the business.
So Boria, you're there in Manchester. What seems to be the mood over there? Do you think Ashwin would be included this time around on the 4th test?
You can see the mood, right? With my umbrella. That's the mood in the morning with half an hour to go. So it's been drizzling for the last about 20 minutes. Though the prediction for the rest of the day is not too bad. It's supposed to be dry for the rest of the day, but tomorrow and day after it's supposed to be thundery and showery. There'll be a lot of interruptions. that might be one of the reasons which might prompt a last-minute change. If that doesn't happen, I see Ashwin playing. Because yesterday at the nets, he batted, he bowled, he looked focused. In fact, I bumped into him, wished him well. He looked very charged up. So yes, I mean, I entirely agree with Nikhil. Ashwin needs to come back. As far as Gautam, there's another thought that should we include Gautam or should Cheteshwar stand up? And Ashwin plays with persisting with Rohit. But Gautam again batted for a long time in the nets, did a lot of short ball practice. They sort of tried to bounce him out because this pitch will have the maximum bounce of all the tracks that you've seen so far. Lords had a lot of grass. This doesn't have that kind of grass, but it will have a lot of bounce. India has not played a test match, Siddharth, at Old Trafford since 1990 when Tendulkar got that match-saving 100. Yeah. So it will be a very important match, provided the weather holds up.
Well, if we talk about Cheteshwar Pujara, you know, his form has also not been very consistent and top order doesn't seem to be firing at the moment for Team India. Do you think, you know, Gautam Gambhir's inclusion will set the ball rolling for the Indian team?
Gautam is a seasoned veteran. I mean, he's been there, done that kind of player, and he's a gritty, gutsy customer. I mean, having known Gautam for a long time, he's not played a test match for 2 years. One expects Gautam to step up. He's got that fire in him. He would be itching to get an opportunity. There is no question that people like Gautam, who have the mettle, who have the caliber, will want to step up. And you mentioned Cheteshwar. You also perhaps mentioned Virat a bit back. The point is, they are not looking. If you really see, Cheteshwar and Virat, every time they get in, they look like getting onto a big score, and then that mistake happens, a nudge, you know, a nick here, a nudge there, Cheteshwar sort of misreading a line. They are both in good nick, and Mahendra Singh Dhoni made that point. This fluctuation, the up and down, will eventually make them both better cricketers. I expect the Indian top order to definitely do better than Southampton.
Okay, Nikhil, you know, Boreas talked about Virat's form. You know, he's just averaged about 16, you know, in the series right now. Do you think it's a big concern for the Indian team right now?
Well, I guess in terms of your middle order needing to fire, of course. And don't forget that Virat Kohli has been one of our most prolific run getters as well. He's somebody who shoulders the responsibility of getting Team India to a big score. So, you know, but like Mahendra Singh Dhoni says, you know, he's looked good in the nets, he's got the starts, but it's unfortunate that he hasn't been able to convert those starts. He's only in innings away from getting back into form, and I hope at Old Trafford he can make this innings a memorable one.
Okay, Dhoni has also talked a lot about, you know, taking catches, those slip catches that we've been dropping more often. What do you think? The fielding also needs to ramp up a bit?
Yeah, well, of course, you know, to win a test match, you need to get 20 wickets of the opposition, and for that, you need to get plenty of catches in hand. Don't forget, you know, the old cliched saying, catches make you win matches. So you need to try and at least convert the half chances. The chances that come to your belly, you've got to, of course, take them.
All right, Borea, it's been raining out there. So do you think, you know, our fielding efforts will be up to the mark when the test match actually starts?
More importantly, Siddharth, it's cold. You know, the weather is very chilly compared to what we had at Lords, 30 degrees, in Southampton, close to 30 degrees, Trent Bridge, close to 30 degrees. This is 16. This is 15, 16, 17, which is close to an Indian winter. So it's chilly, it's cold, it's dreary, it's battery. It's exactly what the Indians ought to expect in England, in the north of England. This will be like this over the next 3-4 days. So you'll need jumpers, you will need cold hands, so you need to warm them up when you stand in the slips. Maybe Murli Vijay will stand in the slips. Maybe that's a possibility. Ajinkya Rahane is a good slip fielder as well. You cannot drop. I mean, I think the turning point at Southampton was that Jadeja drop of Alistair Cook. That let England off to a good start, and thereon they just piled on the misery for India. You've got to win. If you have to win, you've got to take your catches, but as MS said, these are the people who are the best in that cordon, so you expect them to stand up and deliver.
So, Borea, now Mohammad Shami also is all set to return. Is the morale of the team uplifted, you know, in terms of they getting more chances in taking wickets and getting those 20 wickets out?
See, I see India oftentimes coming back from adversity in a really nice way. Think about Sydney and Monkey Gate. The verdict didn't go against them. What happened? They came back and won at Perth, the hallowed fortress of the Australians, right? Think about what happened last year during the Champions Trophy. After all of the scandal, they came here, stellar performance, won the Champions Trophy, both under MS Dhoni. This one as well. The captain has faced the flak from the ICC, from the British media. The verdict has not gone his way. Obviously, he's smarting. However much he says it's time to move on, nobody moves on. Nobody is forgiven, nobody is forgotten. So obviously, it's time for the team to stand up for their captain and deliver. And at these situations, I see the Indian team doing well. So put my money on it. You will see a better Indian performance for sure than in Southampton.
Your thoughts, Nikhil? Do you concur with Boria's thoughts over there that Shami's return and backing up their captain would lift the morale of the Indian team and they'll hit back England with a punch?
Well, I hope so. You know, he speaks about, of course, the monkey gate, and that brought the team together as well. But Mahendra Singh Dhoni, you know, he'd be an upset man, but I'm sure he's a matured man to put all this behind him since the verdict hasn't gone in favour. At least they'll try and make a change what's in their hand. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni, of course, would be looking to back his boys. Shami's been quiet in the Test series for far too long. You know, he's a far bowler than what the averages show. You know, 5 wickets in 3 Test matches is not the kind of bowler that Shami is. So hopefully he can step up his game a bit. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni is a great man motivator. Fingers crossed, we can go ahead in the Test series, winning this one 2-1.
Okay, news coming in that, you know, due to rain, the match would be slightly delayed, but that I hope won't affect the chances that India have in this match. Boria, coming back to you, you know, now that we've heard that there's a slight delay in the match, do you think it'll affect the captain's decision to bat first or ball first?
It depends on the, as I said to you, the weather forecast for the rest of the day is not that bad. So there might not be a cloud cover. Otherwise, yes. Otherwise, you would not mind bowling first with a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Mohammad Shami in your ranks who will get the ball to swing, even Pankaj Singh. So in Southampton, but ideally India would want to bat first, put up 400, 500 on the board, then unleash their bowlers. That always gives them cushion. Think of Lords. They batted on a difficult wicket, got about close to 300 and then got after England. Think of Trent Bridge. India dominated that match because they batted first. Ideally, you would want to bat first because if you can do that and get to 350, 400, you can dominate. But on this wicket, in these conditions, cloudy, overcast, you know, when the ball will do a bit, you wouldn't even mind with the first 2 hours of that red cherry with Bhuvnesh Kumar and Pankaj Singh and Mohammad Shami going for the English.
What do you think, Nikhil? Should India bat first or bowl first now that we'll be seeing a delay in the match start?
Well, interestingly, you know, of course, the weather conditions have changed. If the covers have been on for quite some time, the wicket would sweat a bit. And of course, there's going to be some sort of moisture. But it's a difficult call for the captain because he's got to try and gauge, or the support staff's got to try and gauge, how long is that moisture going to be retained on that track. If it's only going to be for a couple of hours, then like Boria says, it's not such a bad idea to get in there, try and get a big enough score. But if there is enough moisture that will last you about 70 to 80 odd overs, then I'm sure Mahendra Singh Dhoni would want to give the new ball to his bowlers and say, let's just try and put some pressure on the English batsmen, because don't forget, Boria saying the weather condition is pretty cold. For batsmen to get warm as well will get difficult. So it's not a bad idea to go out there and bowl first if there's enough moisture on the wicket.
All right, Boria, what are your thoughts on that? Nikhil says that he would like England to bat first.
As I see now, I can see blue sky. I don't see this rain lasting, Siddharth. I don't see this rain lasting. This is England. You know, sort of 5 minutes of rain and 5 minutes of spit. You know, I see blue sky. I don't see this rain lasting. I see the game happening at least on day one for the full duration of 90 overs, maybe a bit of an extension up to 6:30 local time.
Okay.
But it's a good call. I mean, what the captain will do, ideally, I still think if they win the toss, Dhoni will stick his neck out and say bat first. You bat first, you get 350, 400 on that board, then you can bounce out England. You can go after England with the swinging ball. You can do all of that. Strength is batting. You've got to bat well. You did that at Lords. You did that in Trent Bridge. You've got to back yourselves here again in Old Trafford.
All right, we hope that the match starts in time, and time for us to slip into a very short break. Now here's what Matt Merchant, the pitch curator at Old Trafford, had to say about the surface he's prepared for the 4th test. Take a look.
The pitches in this grudge series between England and India have surprised many. The first one at Trent Bridge didn't really offer a contest between bat and ball and has since rendered poor, considered poor by the ICC. Lord's one was extremely green, at least on the first day, and the one in Southampton turned when nobody really expected it. We're here for the fourth test in Manchester at the Old Trafford ground. I have the pitch curator, Matt Merchant, with me. Let's just ask him if there's going to be some mystery at the Old Trafford pitch as well. Matt, what do you reckon? Just what is the kind of pitch we're going to see on day one?
Well, I think we're going to see a traditional Old Trafford pitch which has pace and bounce and good carry.
So the bowlers are going to be very happy. Were there any demands made by the English team, the things that they would have liked to see on this one?
No, there was no demands. I spoke to Peter last week and he asked how the preparation was going and he made no demands at all. So.
Well, there's been a little bit of talk how England haven't really taken advantage of the home conditions. India, of course, surprised them, bounced them out at Lord's despite the pitch being so green. What is the kind of pitch that you think that will suit the English team the most?
I think probably the quicker pitch would suit England more. So hopefully the Old Trafford pitch will suit England.
And will there be turn on this one after the third day, the fourth day, or will it depend a lot on the weather conditions?
Yeah, I think it'll depend a lot on the weather conditions, but you do normally see some sort of turn at Old Trafford.
How much grass will we see on this one on day one?
You'll have to wait till Thursday, I think, to see how much grass is left on.
Will it be more or less than Lord's? Just tell us that one.
I'd say less. I don't think you can get any more than Lord's, no.
All right, there you saw, it's a pacey and a bouncy wicket. So, Nikhil, we were talking about Ashwin coming back and they've given a pace and a bouncy pitch. So, what do you reckon now?
Yeah, well, it depends how long does the pace and the bounce last. But I guess at Old Trafford, you always tend to counter that. So, I won't be surprised looking at the conditions. If there's actually going to be pace and bounce, you might just see that Ashwin may be sitting out, or he gets an opportunity where Jadeja maybe sits out, and then you have the combination of 7 batsmen and the 4 bowlers, the 3 medium pacers and the lone spinner. Not a bad idea to play Ashwin in place of Jadeja. But I guess, when you're on ground, then it makes all the difference. Like Boria, he's there. I'm sure he must have had a look at the wicket as well. That's when you can actually try and gauge what the 11 is going to be. Whether you go with 6-5 combination or you go with the 7 and 4 combination.
So, Boria, what do you reckon now? That's a pacey and a bouncy wicket that's been offered to India in this test match. Do you think Ashwin will hold a chance now?
Till yesterday evening, yes. When we were there yesterday evening, when the Indians practiced, when they went, had a look at the pitch, when they were removing the covers, drizzling. From about 6-7 a.m. it was sunny, but then from 7:30 onwards it became cloudy. 8 o'clock onwards the drizzle, which has just now stopped, Siddharth. Now they will perhaps remove the covers in a bit for the rest of the day. But so it has to be a call which will be taken at toss. As Nikhil said, you've got to gauge the conditions. The captain held his cards close to his chest. They will want to play Ashwin, but who's is it Jadeja? Is it Rohit Sharma? Is it, in whose place will they play Ashwin is a question. But the conditions will impact. Turn with this kind of cold, this kind of weather, where there's rain tomorrow, day after for sure. How much turn will there be? I seriously have doubts.
Okay, Nikhil, so pacers must be like rejoicing seeing the pitch over there.
Absolutely, but then there's always a threat that you don't allow your quicker bowlers to get carried away. When there's pace and bounce, you start pitching in short and tracks. Normally when there's a little bit of assistance, that's what the batsmen want. They don't want a moving ball with pace and bounce when you have to go out there and play in the front foot. They're very happy leaving those deliveries. And that's all the more reason you got to tell your bowlers, pitch it up in these sort of conditions. That's why you pick up wickets.
All right, we hope that India actually comes out with flying colours. Thanks guys for joining us, and that's all the time that we have. For more news and updates, stay tuned to Headlines Today.